welcome to Vintage Gaming Memories. Shall we play a game?
Hello everyone, thank you for stopping by and checking out this video. If you like videos on vintage handheld games from the 70s and 80s, like the one you're about to see here in a minute, then please be sure to subscribe to help support the growth of this channel. It truly shows in the comments and feedback that I've been receiving for the past 9 months, and I truly appreciate all of you for doing that. Now to this video. This game here is a 1980s Parker Brothers challenge type game called Split Second. And on the box, it states that it's a race against time and that there's 5 electronic action games within. So my first impression is, okay, they took the shell from the Merlin game and then they added a display on one end because it's by the same company, Parker Brothers. But let's get a closer look at this game. This box is in really good condition, happy to say, ages 7 to adult as far as the age for play, and it says 1 or more players. Those are the 5 games listed right here. Mad Maze, Space Attack, Autocross, Stomp, and Speedball. Of course, you're going to get a little bit of an idea what these games look like in the back. Well, let's take a look and see what's inside. So here's what I got with the game, and it was noted in the auction that this was in working condition. Obviously, you can see I got the box like I showed you. It has the instructions, which appear to be in great condition as well, which is nice to have. Now, this game's display is an LED, which we'll find out when we put batteries in. It does use 6 AA batteries. And let's take a look and see. Yep. There's also an option for a 9-volt AC adapter, which is nice. The back has instructions on there as well, which is kind of like raised or embossed onto the back plastic, which is nice, so you don't have to worry about peeling. You do have a little warning here, electronics do not drop, in case you weren't aware of that. Let's take a look at the battery compartment to make sure. I think it was very clean. Yes, it is. No corrosion, a lot of batteries though. It's a very simple looking game, and I think it's probably going to be even easier once I read the instructions, but it's got the power and on off switch right here. You have only 6 buttons to work with. One is a start button, and the other one's a select. Those are the 2 red triangle buttons. Then you have your 4 directional buttons that are up, down, left, and right. That's it. Of course, your display of whatever challenge you have to do in these games. Not much more than that. So what I'm going to do is wipe this down, maybe polish it up a bit, throw some batteries in it, hope for the best, and then show you all the games that are on here, all 5 of these games. So I'll be back in a split second. Okay, I did say I was going to clean this, and it wasn't intended to open this up, but because I had a Merlin, and I know how it looks inside, I open it up. I know that the top comes off nice and easy, so I took this apart because these louvers needed to be cleaned. They were really gunked up with some stuff, and this comes off so nicely. This plastic taken off. Always nice to have a handy nylon brush here. Can clean it really good between the louvers here, and a lot of games are like that, and it won't scratch it. So I did clean it with nice warm water and some soap. Then I did polish it with some Novus 1, so that's why there's a nice shine to it. It's like brand new. Did the same with the directional buttons. Very nice and easy to do that. They all stay together, so you got to be careful, don't break them. As well as the select and start buttons. Then a display cover here that goes over the LED is nice and polished and clean as well. And of course, the battery cover. Now, the bottom portion of the game, I did not give it a warm bath because it is soldered on for the battery compartment for the positive and negative. And it's not really necessary because it was already cleaned up nicely on the outside. I didn't really need to do anything more. but give you a good idea what it looks like as far as the circuitry here. You can see the chips on here as well as the resistor, and there's not much to it. And of course a speaker. So did all that, didn't even test it. I'm pretty confident this is going to work. Everything looks fine visually. And like I said, it's all cleaned up. So what we'll do now is just put it all back together again. All right, everything's buttoned up here and polished. Very nice. I think I like how this looks. I have more lights on so you can kind of get a better idea how this turned out. And the back. Yep, and I still haven't tested it yet, so this could be all for nothing. But no, if it didn't work, I would go to the extent of fixing this to make sure it does work. That's it. This is split second. Let's go ahead and throw in 6 batteries, 6 AA batteries, and see what happens. Okay, batteries are in, instructions are read, and first thing I should say is that there are actually 8 games and not 5. So technically 8. So you see there's 2 of the games have multiple variations of play. One has 2 variations and the other has 3. So if you do the math, you get 8 different games to select from. There is one key thing to know, and that is the objective for all 8 games, which is to finish in the shortest possible time. Like it says, it is a race against time, so you want to get the lowest score, which means the fastest time when you play each of these games. I'll quickly go over the 8 games as we play each one, and let's just first make sure this thing powers on before we go further. So batteries are in, and good sign, it works. So game 1 is what it shows here, I guess. If I hit select, it will cycle through all 8 games and then back to game 1. So we'll start with game 1, and that game is called Mad Maze. The object of that game is that I need to guide the ball, which would be the dot, across the other side of the screen into the goal and do that quickly as possible. There are 10 mazes that I have to maneuver through because the maze will have dashes or lines there that I have to go around the ball with to get to the goal. And I have to do that as quickly as possible. It allows you to do this within 99.9 seconds, so a minute and 40 seconds roughly. And I think that's pretty much it. So let's see how I fare. All right, so that's me, the ball, and I have to get it over there to the goal. And it keeps alternating each side, as you can tell. The goal now should be on top. Well, there's more. 38.6 seconds. It went away on the screen, which is normal, it says, because it tries to preserve the battery. And another cool feature is that beep. So it will beep every few seconds after the game, just to remind you that the power is still turned on and it does conserve battery. But it's nice to have that reminder that the game is still on. And in case you missed your score because it did go away quickly, if you press the down arrow, it will show the score again. And if you press the up arrow, it'll show you the best score, which it's not really that because I haven't played more than one game, but it'd be the best score in that game that you've played so far. Now, one thing to remember is once you do select another game, like I'm doing right now, that score is gone. Hitting the down or up arrow, it will be removed from memory. So it's a cool feature, I guess, if you keep playing the same game, you want to try to outdo your own score. But once you do select another game, that score is gone. So for game 2, this one's called Mad Maze Preview, which is a variation of the game I just played, but this time it just gives me a split second to see the obstacles or the maze itself before it disappears. So basically, I have to maneuver through this blindly. So this will be a good challenge. Let's start. There's the maze. All right. forgot this one. $35.6, and again, hitting the down arrow shows me that. Hitting the up arrow will show 99.9 because it's only been one game played on that game selection number 2. And here comes the beep to remind me that it's still turned on. There it is. All right, well, that's 2 games down. The third game is called Mad Maze Invisible. I think you can figure this one out. So it's a third variation of that game, but this time I don't even get a preview of that maze. I just have to figure that out blindly and maneuver through. So how does that work? Well, I believe the maze is the same pattern each time, unless I turn it off and back on, and it'll reset the maze. So I kind of remember the pattern, but I don't know. We'll see. Plus, you can kind of feel around and see where you get blocked and just maneuver a different direction, which is probably what I'll probably end up doing. So there I am. Nope. Okay. I am really guessing. I'm just moving where it allows me to move. Took a little bit longer, 43.2 seconds. I like that it does it in a tenth of a second, which is pretty cool because obviously if you are competing with a friend and you want to get the best score, you can break it down to the tenth of a second. So that is game number 3, which was the third variation of Mad Maze. So game 4 is called Space Attack. This one I need to use my select or my start, either one of those, because what that will do is it'll produce lasers that I need to use to destroy the enemy ship. So when I start the game, I'll see a dot in the middle, and that's the core of my force field. I'm reading this. This is what it says, okay? And I'm supposed to guide or control the enemy ship, which is shown with a line on each side of a dot. I need to guide that towards the core, and then when it gets up and lines up perfectly to the center, I use my lasers, which is either the select or start button, and I destroy the enemy ship. So I have to destroy a total of 8 enemy ships to finish the game. And of course, once again, in the fastest time possible. So let's see how this works out. Start. Okay, so that's the enemy ship. I see that. And that's my core. I need to guide it. And I'm actually guiding the ship. So I line it up. That's a pretty cool destruction. Pretty simple. Not hard at all. Obviously, you got to be fast if you're going to try to get the best time. That's 33.7. Definitely could go a lot faster, but I just want to get a good look and feel of the game. So let me hit select. So that was game 4 and game 5. This one's called Space Attack Pro. This is the same game, but a different variation. It says this time, the enemy ship will try to resist my control to make it harder for me to line up my lasers to destroy it. So that may be interesting. So let's start this one. Oh yeah, look, it's moving by itself. So I have to kind of guide it into the area, which I just did. Not as easy, for sure. I like the sounds of the laser shooting. And I like the destruction. That's pretty cool. 41.4 seconds. Definitely more challenging on that one. And as you hear the tone too at the end, there's a victory tone. There is a losing tone, which would be if you didn't get the high score, which I'll probably show you in the next game, which is game number 6. This is game 6, and it's called Autocross. I am supposed to control a car, which is represented by a bar, and I need to go through 16 obstacles. Each obstacle is represented by either 2 dots or 1 dot. And if it's 2 dots, I maneuver between it. And if it's 1 dot, I need to go around it. That's pretty much it. So let's try this game. Cool. That's the motor sound. And that's the 2 dots I got to go between. Well, that's the 1 dot around. Oh, crash sounds are pretty cool. Well, that motor gets revved up and you go faster. That's pretty neat. 29.7 seconds. All right, let me try this again and go a little bit slower and give you the losing sound or the loss or defeat sound versus the winning sound that you just heard. Let's see. I'm going to go a little bit in circles here to get some time and hear that revving sound of that motor. Pretty cool. All right, let's play this game and get a bad score and hear the losing sound that it makes, since we haven't heard that yet. Oh, that's the sound. So that's when you do not get a high score. 36.6. Top button shows the high score, 29.7, which is my first time I played it. Pretty neat. All right, let's go to game 7. Game 7 is called Stomp. So in this game, I have 20 targets, and I need to hit them as quickly as possible. The 20 targets can show up as either 1 or 2 targets, and I need to hit the targets by pressing the corresponding arrow buttons. And the other trick to this one is that there might be 2 targets shown at once, which require me pressing more than one of the arrow buttons. And it only stays on there for a second, so it's really quick. I have to do this really fast once I see it. So I probably have to put my fingers all over the place here. We'll just try this out. Oh wow, that was quick. There was 2. There we go. Up, up, ah. There we go. Split. Jeez. If you hit it wrong or you don't hit it at the same time, it's automatically a miss. It's not like you can make it up for it. You can't press 1 at a time if it's 2 of them. It's got to be perfect timing. Like that. Not like that one. How quickly it goes away. Jeez. Wow. So that was 20 targets, and that took me 40.7 seconds. That's a challenging game for sure. And the last game, number 8. This last game is called Speedball. In this one, you need to capture 5 moving balls as quickly as possible. And you capture the moving ball by moving your 4 lined up bars to make a box around it. Let's see what that really means in the game. Okay, so that's me, that 4, it's like a snake, and that's the moving ball. Wow, there we go. I made a box around it, and not that easy, for sure not easy. Not when it's moving like that. Oh, come on, there we go. It's 2. Oh, I had it. There we go. I made a box around nothing. There we go. Can't go backwards. Oh, I had it. Wow. It's going to take me all time. Nope. I guess I did it within 48.8 seconds. That was definitely challenging, and that was only 5. Wow. So that one is called Speedball, and it kind of reminds me of that snake game. Um, that snake game that you could play online. You kind of had your own character that keeps growing as you eat these food, I think it was. And then, of course, you have to try to block your opponent and make sure you don't cross your own path. But, anyways, enough of that. But that's what it reminded me of a little bit. Overall, I actually liked Speedball and Autocross and the Mad Maze. Actually, I liked all of them. They're all pretty cool. I'd have to say this was definitely a great game to play back in 1980. So for me, 2024, I thought this was entertaining. 8 different games, very unique. And what I liked about it was that the sound isn't too overwhelming. It's not like that annoying sound in some of these old games. And it's definitely short to play each game. And it's challenging. So check 3 boxes for me: sound, challenge, and the time of how long it takes to play before you give it to your opponent to play. Thumbs up for this one. Comment down below and let me know if you ever owned this one or what you remember if you did and what you think of this game after I showed it. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video on the 1980 Parker Brothers handheld game called Split Second. Thanks again for your time, and always remember to keep your gaming passion from the past alive by living it today. Take care, everyone.